Hello, I'm Carla. This is Kim. Thank you for joining us to practice today. Today's class, we're doing a lot of standing poses, working from Adho Mukha Svanasana. So Adho Mukha Svanasana is your downward dog. There'll be a lot of poses in downward dog, preparing us for the standing poses. And these standing poses, they're tough poses, they're balanced poses. So we won't hold them terribly long, but if you have an established practice and you want to hold them longer, absolutely do. And as a beginner, anytime you need to come out of a pose, please do. Listen to your body, practice with care, and use the supports. We'll be using most supports that you'll use in an Iyengar practice, blankets, bricks, a strap, and today we'll be using the wall, so have some wall space. We'll begin in this cross-legged position, Svastikasana. In Svastikasana, you want to use your fingertips either at your sides or hands in front to get an extension up of the sides of the body, to feel a lifting up of the chest. If you're not getting that, if you're unable to easily sit cross-legged and your spine is slumping down, you want to take a little bit more height under the buttocks so that you can pull yourself up onto the pinpoint of the buttock bones and get that sacrum into the body, spine and the sides of the body nicely extended. When you're seated, you may need to adjust the flesh of the buttocks to connect with the buttock bones. Lift up from the buttock bones. Keep the shoulders away from the ears. And a quiet softness in the jaw, the teeth. Relax the top shoulder. Bring the hands together in the prayer position. We'll just do the 3 arms to begin our practice, using this as an opportunity to draw yourself to your mat, bring yourself fully to your practice. So on an exhalation, let the eyes gently close. With the eyes closed, make sure you don't drop the spine and the chest. With each exhalation, feel that you're relaxing the shoulders, relaxing into the groins. So in this pose, Svastikasana, find that balance between the alertness, the action, and also the quietness, the softness, the releasing. Come to the breath. On the next exhalation, drop your head down. Keeping the spine lifted and the chest well opened. Take a moment here just to salute the divinity within. And then exhale, release the hands down. On the next inhalation, lift your head up, let the eyes gently flutter open. From here, we're just going to come to Parsvottanasana. So interlace the fingers right to the webbing. You're going to turn so that the fingers are opening, the zigzag of the hand is opening. Keep the thumbs touching, at least if they don't interlock, and the softness in the top shoulder here. And you're going to lift the arms over your head for Parsvottanasana. It is the first pose of your session, so just a nice, easy stretch, working with the breath. Each inhalation, you lift up. Exhale, soften the top shoulder, relax the lap down, and then settle the hands into your lap. Change the cross of the hands. And again, opening, extend the arms up and lock the elbows, soften into the jaw, relax into the neck region, and then exhale, release the hands at your sides. We're going to come to a gentle twist. So coming to Parsvottanasana, turning to the right first, you'll take your right hand behind you. Again, it's the first one for the day, so keep the hand just gripping into the thigh, the outer knee. Take a nice twist, lift up. And you don't want to keep this shoulder blade behind. You want to bring that left shoulder blade into the body to open that left side of the chest. Take the right top shoulder away from the ear. When you've been there for a few breaths, come back to center and we twist to the other side. So be in the center position, find that alignment of the sides of the body. When you're ready, exhaling, turning to the left. Use the hands. So this right shoulder is tricky. You don't want to bring the right shoulder forward. You want to keep the front right shoulder back, the upper arm back, and bring the shoulder blade into the body. Maintain that softness in the top shoulders. So you're using the arms to turn the spine. And then when you've been there for a couple of breaths, exploring that twist, come back to the center and just a nice gentle release forward. So stretching the arms forward to get length in the front body. At the same time, pressing into the hands to get the buttocks to descend down. Walk your hands back, and we're coming again to Svastikasana. Right, so we'll come to changing the cross of the legs. So you're going to remember which leg you had in front, and we'll do a side view over here. So change the cross of the legs. Make sure you got the other leg in front. You can see here, the sacrum is into the body. The spine is nice and lifted. The chest is nice and lifted. The knees are descending down. Coming to Parsvottanasana, interlace the fingers and stretch the arms out in front of you first. You lock the elbows and you want to synchronize the movement of lifting the chest and drawing the upper arms back, relaxing the shoulders. And with this in mind, stretch the arms overhead. Once you've stretched the arms overhead, the idea is that you keep the shoulder blades into the body, but you want to move the upper arms back and keep the front ribs back, the abdomen back. You're stretching up. Exhale, release the hands down at your sides. Change the cross of the fingers. For the next one, take the hands up, just floating above the head. Here, if you move the elbows back, you feel that engagement in the shoulder region, then maintaining that, lock the elbows, extend the arms. That extension doesn't just come from the arms. Feel this opening in the armpits, the side of the rib cage here, this armpit chest region has to fan and open out. The side waist has to become long, and you're grounding the outer hips down and you're breathing. And then release the hands down at your sides. Have a little rest. Coming to the right twist. So right hand comes behind you, left hand moves across. And you're using the hands to maintain that alertness of the spine without lifting the shoulders up. You're using the hands to get your twist. And then when you've been there for a few breaths, to get more openness on this left side of the shoulder, if you turn the back of the hand, this opens and rotates the bicep, you get more openness, more action in that twist. You're trying not to lean back, keeping the crown of the head over the perineum, and then you turn the head last. Coming back to center, take a moment here in Svastikasana to reestablish your seat, to soften the sides of the body that you've just stretched and extended before you go to your twist on the left side. So a twist is a lateral extension because you're extending the sides of the body, the lateral sides of the body. So see how these muscles just elongate as they wrap around. The shoulder blade has to come in, but this top shoulder has to stay away so that the chest stays open. And turning that palm will help that openness in the chest. Lift your chin up, don't look down, eyes at eye level, chest lifts with it. Not leaning back as you lift up, so maintain equal length on both sides of the body, and then exhale, release, coming back to center. Again, settle there. Feeling that movement of the buttock flesh down, this outer thigh staying grounded, come into the forward extension. Gentle walk forward, nice soft spine. You can let the head just be in a restful, easy position, especially if you have neck injuries. Just do what feels comfortable for your neck. As much as you're extending forward, you're lengthening the sides of the body again. You're grounding the outer thigh, outer groin, buttock region down. Walk your hands back. And just release the cross of the legs. We're going to come now to Baddha Konasana. So up we get again. Baddha Konasana, you might need more height than for your seated cross-legged poses. And what I like to do in Baddha Konasana is to use the pointed end of the blanket so that your thigh flesh is out of the way. So if you have a look from the side, there's the little peaky bits. And when you come to sit in Baddha Konasana, the buttocks are on the blanket, but this upper thigh region is completely free. So we're coming to Baddha Konasana. If you know that you cannot sit easily in Baddha Konasana and you need extra height, please take it. Also, if you cannot hold your ankles in Baddha Konasana, if you're unable to hold towards the feet, then you'll use a strap so that if you don't have the reach, holding onto the strap will give you that little bit of extra. Again, if you are a beginner, listen to your body. You can let go of the strap now. And if these seated poses tire your back, then just scoot back so that your back is against the wall for support. Once more, you're looking at that lift of the sacral region, that extension of the sides of the body, that beautiful openness of the chest. With that lift up, there has to be a grounding element. So exhale, relax the jaw, soften across this top shoulder region. And as you exhale also, can you soften the groins and settle the knees down? So in Baddha Konasana, you're opening the hips. There's an external rotation of the hips. You're rolling from the inner thigh to the outer thigh. You're opening from the inner groin to the inner knee. And from the inner knee, there's like a swirling movement to the outer knee and into the hip. So see if that clenching of the outer hips, that action in the outer thighs, if that gives you a little bit more of that earth element in this pose. Baddha Konasana, the cobbler's pose, keep that extension of the body. And here we also try and do the Mula Bandha, where you're drawing up the muscles of the pelvic floor. So do that without holding the breath. We come into Svastikasana again, the cross-legged position, keeping the right leg in front. So you're going to cross the legs, right leg will be in front. In Svastikasana, again, find your seat, so adjust your buttocks if you need. Let the knees settle down. And in this Svastikasana position, if you'd like to come into a forward extension, working a little bit into the hip and the glute region, then just gently walk your hands forward. Again, that same element of grounding into the buttocks and the outer thighs. So we're just working at warming up the hips here. And now walking the hands back. The next step is to intensify the cross into Agni Stambhasana, the log stacking pose. This isn't an easy pose for everybody, so just be sure not to force it. You're going to open up the cross a little bit, bring the right foot onto the left knee, take the left knee over the right foot. So it's not a cross-legged position. You want to tighten the distance between the knees and you want to settle that knee down. If you're up here and take more height to sit on, use your hands, and just with each exhalation, can you settle that knee with that rotation in the leg? And then if you're flat and you're able to, you can start to settle down with a little bit of weight or even start to walk forward. You'll get a much more intense action in the hip and glute region here in this forward bend with the legs in Agni Stambhasana. We're working today into Gomukhasana. Gomukhasana is the cow face pose. Walk your hands back. There's a few ways of working into it. We'll work into the beginner kind of version now. So we're going to tighten the cross of the legs even more. You're going to bring your right foot right across next to your left hip, your left foot right across to your right hip. You're trying to cross the knees over in the midline somewhere. And for some of us, included, there's a giant gap in between the two legs. So depending on how fleshy you are, you might need to just adjust front calf, see what you can do to get those knees stacked, to get that top knee descending down, get that lift of the spine. Gomukhasana arms, we're going to just work into them gently. So if the left leg is at the bottom, the left arm is going to go up. So you're getting a lovely extension on the left side. You're going to extend the left arm up completely, and you're going to bring that left hand to pat you on the back. The right arm is going to swing underneath and grab hold of the left hand. If it doesn't grab hold, just keep your hands along your back. You'll notice this right side shrinks. Your job is to now lift this armpit chest, even out the chest, lengthen that right side of the body. Release the arms at your sides. Untangle the legs, straighten them out in front of you in Dandasana. In this Dandasana position, just let the knees and the thighs be soft. The hips are just getting a little rest here after all that intense movement. And now we've got a whole other cross of the legs to go through. So you're going to bring the left leg in front. So right leg first, left leg in front. So you're changing the cross of the legs. And now first start off with the hands next to you. Get that lovely extension up of the spine. You can obviously go into this from Baddha Konasana if it helps you to get that openness. From here, extend the spine forward and keep the buttocks grounded. Use your hands to go forward as you extend the front of the body. Walk the hands forward, but you also want to push into the hands and let the buttock flesh and the outer thighs descend. Let your neck just be in a comfortable position for you. We're not holding these poses for very long, but if this feels quite relieving in your hips and you want to hold it for longer, then a good idea is just to have a little bit of support like a brick so that you can rest your head and you're not causing yourself any undue stress. Walk your hands back now, still keeping the same cross. You're going to just tighten the knees and pop the left foot onto the right knee. Listen to your knees, listen to your hips. If anything is squealing and screaming at you, please don't force it. Find that lift of the spine. You do this so easily. Let that left outer thigh descend, the right outer thigh descend. So you've got this external rotation. And then if this is easy for you, start to come forward, or you can press the knee down a little bit more gently, coaxing it down. Please don't do it if your knee is sitting like way up. And then start to come into the forward bend. In this forward bend, once more, find the length of the sides and the front of the body. Find that grounding action of the buttocks and the outer thighs. And then coming up from this Agni Stambhasana, fire log pose, cross the knees to the midline. You want to bring the knees, the feet at the hips, and the knees crossing over each other. So this is the easiest position to practice Gomukhasana. If you do struggle here, take some supports. Eventually you'd work at bringing the shins out. Right, because the right leg is underneath, the right arm is going to go up. So think about already this lovely, beautiful extension. That's your goal. And then giving yourself a pat on the back, take the left hand underneath. And now this massive length and openness you've got on the right side, you want to try and replicate it on the left side. So at first, the left armpit collapses down to the left hip. So now you want to open up. You want to find that spread in the waist, that openness in the side of the chest. You want to roll that left shoulder back. Breathe here for a few moments. Soften the top shoulder and the throat. Then releasing the hands at your sides. Extend the legs to Dandasana. Here, again, relax the hips, relax the knees. Just find that flow of blood. Let there be just softness. From here, we're coming to Adho Mukha Virasana. So, on all fours, you're going to take your big toes to touch, your knees apart, and you're extending the legs forward in Adho Mukha Virasana. Again, it's that same extension we've been working on. You want that same grounding action of the buttocks down, and with the buttocks grounded, you want to reach the breastbone forward as far as possible. Already here, have the hands hip, shoulder distance apart. We're preparing to go into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So the Adho Mukha Svanasana hand is spread like a starfish. The triceps have to coil in towards the face. So this outer arm has to roll in towards the face. The bicep has to roll out so that there's spread in the top shoulder and you're not catching that top shoulder. Pressing the hands into the floor, come up onto all fours. Don't move the distance between the hands and the knees, but you can take the feet hip distance apart and the knees closer together. From here, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Pushing into the hands. You don't have to worry about taking the heels down immediately. Rather think about this length in the sides of the body. Lift this outer hip region. This outer groin region has to move up and back. So now press into the hands. Move the front thigh back above and below the knee. You want to move strongly back. And with this movement back, you start to extend the heels down. Make sure you've let go of your head. You're not holding the neck tight. And also press into the hands, lock the elbows, engage the arms by lifting the forearms away from the floor. Feel how those shoulder blades have to come into the body. At any time in today's practice, when you get tired, when you've had enough, you're going to take your knees to the floor, toes together, come to Adho Mukha Virasana. As a restful pose, you want to take this opportunity to now keep the elbows on the floor, the forearms on the floor. You're not working hard into that area. Once you've rested in this Adho Mukha Virasana position, we're now going to come to Adho Mukha Svanasana, but this time we're keeping the feet together. So from all fours, toes stay together, the knees come together, lift into Adho Mukha Svanasana. Again, engaging the arms, taking care to open up the shoulders, moving the front of the hip up and back, get length in the side of the body. Stretch the legs, nice long legs. Now, when you come to Ekapada, lifting the legs up, the hips naturally want to open and be free. So go for it. Lift the right leg up, let the hip open up. See the slope in the sacrum here, the hips open up, wonderful. Look how the foot turns, feel that freedom. Exhale, come down. Then you're going to lift the left leg up. Again, depending on your strength, your endurance, how long you've been practicing, you can hold these poses long and then rest the leg down when you've held it there and explored the pose. Once you're back down in Adho Mukha Svanasana, listen to your body. If you need to pause in Adho Mukha Virasana, go for it. You can always come back to this. Now we're going to lift the right leg up again. So when the hip naturally opens, you'll see the outer thigh is higher than inner thigh. Now we want to keep the hips closed. So turn this inner thigh up to the ceiling and square off the hips. So as you lift the right leg, it's this left leg that has to work. It's this left outer hip that has to lift. You want an absolute level sacrum. So the leg isn't going to go as high. Be content with that. But as you roll that inner thigh up, the knee is firm. The foot and the toes are facing the floor. Exhale, release. Have a breath in Adho Mukha Svanasana. And now when you lift that left leg, you can either just lift and try and correct, or already from the beginning, lift from the inner thigh. As you lift that left leg from the inner thigh, can you keep the right leg alert? As you lift and work on the legs, are you able to keep a quietness in the neck and the head? Don't overthink it. Press into the hands, reach to that heel, lengthen the sides of the body and the spine. When you've been there for a few breaths, release the leg. Come down to Adho Mukha Virasana. Have a rest. Rest the head down. Rest the forearms on the floor to relax the shoulders. This is an opportunity also to catch your breath. So just soften the shoulders. Feel the effects of these poses. If you're working on flexibility, if you're working on strength, pause the video here and just repeat these leg raises if you have time. We're coming now back to Adho Mukha Svanasana. In Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're going to work into the lunge. For a lot of people, the lunge is difficult, but you'll have to bring your leg through if you need, use your hands if you need. Adho Mukha Svanasana with the feet hip distance apart. Now, when you come to the lunge, you're going to use your breath, you're going to use your abdominals, you're going to lift the right leg and you bring the foot in between the two thumbs. If your foot stops halfway, bring it along. If you have to lift your hands up, do what you need to do. With practice, hopefully it gets better. We're coming now into a lunge. So in this lunge, you want to think about the hip shape in that Adho Mukha Svanasana leg raise. Here, you want to keep this left leg firm. You want to keep the hips descended and the spine long. And you want to keep the length in the right waist by moving the root of the right thigh back. You can be on your fingertips. You can be on bricks. In this lunge, as you drop the hips down to the floor, keep a firmness in this back leg, keep stretching into this back heel. And then you can slowly, with that extended back leg, take this back knee to the floor. We're going to turn the toes under to come to the shins and keep the buttocks down. With this back leg, you want to feel where your knee is at the back. If you're rolling onto the inner knee, your hips are open. So this outer knee, outer thigh, outer calf region has to descend. Coming to Parsvottanasana now, keep the hips low, lift your arms, lift your spine, Urdhva Hastasana arms, lock the elbows. When you lift up, keep this bend in the knee, keep settling down, and feel the weight of the front foot. You want the weight on the right heel, not the right toes. This is preparation for Virabhadrasana 1, where the knee joint is over the ankle joint, not forward. Release the arms down at your sides. If you have high blood pressure, if you can't take your arms over your head for long, you can do the next Parsvottanasana with your hands on your hips. Now, coming back to Adho Mukha Svanasana, release the groins in this Adho Mukha Svanasana, soften and quieten here. So basically, you're working in these lunge positions to explore some actions that we use in Virabhadrasana 1 and 2. When you're ready, lunge that left foot forward. If it stops halfway, use the hand. If you need to lift your hands up, go for it. You'll just work a little bit more intensely each time. So again, this back foot, the inner thigh is rolling up. You've got an intensely strong stretch into that back leg. The hips want to go wonky here. So you want to square off the hips. You want to settle down the hips and lengthen this left side. So the left side here shrinks. And we want to try and get evenness on both sides of the body. With that full extension of the back leg, take the back knee to the floor. If you need a blanket for support for that knee, please take it. This shin grounds down. You want to keep the hips down even as you lift up. So as I said, you can take your hands on your hips. If you feel wobbly and out of balance, you can even keep your hands on your knees. Just crossing the hands onto the knees also helps in this pose. Settle the hips down. Make sure the knee joint is well over the ankle joint. These toes are not gripped. And then if you want, Urdhva Hastasana arms. Urdhva Hastasana arms, it's tempting to lift the buttocks. Keep this left buttock grounded to get that length in the left waist. You're only going to hold it as long as you can. Each inhalation, finding that lift. Each exhalation, pressing that back shin down. When you release down to the lunge, prepare by turning the back foot, come to Adho Mukha Svanasana, and in Adho Mukha Svanasana, have a breath or two. When you're ready to release and relax, come to Adho Mukha Virasana. Toes together, knees to the ground. Knees are sufficiently wide so that the body can be supported. Arms are settled, relaxing here, softening the shoulders. Feeling any areas where you may have held tension. Just finding some release here. Right. So we have one more Adho Mukha Svanasana. And this Adho Mukha Svanasana, we're going to use the wall support to help us, not just to get the lift of the leg and maintain the lift of the leg, but also when you've got that foot up the wall, you can grip the toes into the wall to kind of drive the hip action in this pose. So you'll come to Adho Mukha Svanasana. You can take it a normal distance, so toes, feet up towards the wall. You're bringing your hands forward. We're coming to Adho Mukha Svanasana. Find your distance. And now in this Adho Mukha Svanasana, when you take the legs up the wall, so up with the right leg, with that right leg up the wall, you're going to turn the toes under, and now you're using the grip of these toes to get that turning of the thigh. You're using the support of the wall. You can even take your heel on a skirting, and with the leg against the wall, you're turning the hips. You're still pushing into the hands, still releasing the shoulders and the head and lengthening the sides of the body. Hold it only for a few breaths, then release and come down. At any point, as I said, if you need to rest on your hands and knees, do. Now the left leg goes up. Start with the feet together so that it's easier to square off the hips. Use the foot on the wall to help that turning of that left leg, and the right leg, The outer hip must lift. Relax the head, push into the arms. When you've had enough, you're going to release and come down. Come down, rest on all fours, rest in Adho Mukha Virasana. Have a release here. Right. Now we're going to come to Virabhadrasana 3. So Virabhadrasana 3 is one of those poses that take a lot of effort, takes a lot of practice, but it absolutely is doable and it is a wonderful pose. It challenges everything. So the first thing we're going to do is do Virabhadrasana 3 with the hands on bricks. So it's not a full Virabhadrasana 3, it's more like a half Uttanasana. So you're taking your hands on bricks, but we're taking the foot up the wall. So to measure yourself, you first have to turn to face your wall, sit on the floor. With the heel against the wall, measure where your hip is. So if my hip bone is there, I'm going to put the brick there because I want to get my legs at a 90-degree. Without shifting that brick, come up to standing. Stand with your heel in line with the brick, turning away from the wall. And now you're going to bring your hands onto your bricks and then taking your right leg up to the wall. With the right leg against the wall, you've got this leg supported. You can keep the hips level. Hopefully you measured and you got a nice 90-degree angle between the two legs. The standing leg here has to be strong. For these purposes, the standing leg is strong. But remember, when you're balancing, that knee has to allow a little bit of play for you to be able to balance. Feel the freedom of having this leg supported. With this leg, that was a bit too much. With this leg supported, keep that inner thigh rolling up, keep squaring off the hips, and extend the breastbone forward as much as possible. So it's this breastbone that has to extend forward to bring the shoulder blades into the body. Now, without moving the left foot, place the right foot next to it. Keeping the hands on the bricks, take your left leg up. With the left leg up, bring the leg parallel to the floor. So this foot here helps to hold the leg up, helps to help you to turn the leg straight. So the same work you were doing a moment ago in that Adho Mukha Svanasana, where you use the wall here to square off your hips. Again, remembering in balance, the knee is gentle, but here, because you've got the stability, really lift this right hip, get that sacrum level. Feel how much stretch happens on that right leg to get the hips level. This left hip bone in front must be pointing to the floor. Relax your neck, your shoulders. Once you've put your foot down from this Ardha Uttanasana position, you can come to standing in Tadasana. And just rest in Tadasana here. The legs are relaxed, arms and shoulders are relaxed. Now we're going to use the wall to support our hands for Virabhadrasana 1. So you're going to turn around and place your hands on the wall. Once you bend forward and reach forward with the hands on the wall, you want to move your feet back so that the legs are perpendicular to the floor. You want to open your armpits, the sides of the body to see, can I get a completely flat ironing board back? And so not too much. Yes, lift your arms a little bit. So you're coming parallel to the floor. And that gives you the distance for Virabhadrasana 3. Keep the feet together, push yourself away from the wall, and we're coming to Tadasana. In Tadasana, we're going to work into Virabhadrasana 1. Virabhadrasana 1 is the warrior pose. So we'll step back into this pose. Stepping back is harder than stepping forward. So you want to bend that left knee or the right knee and step the left foot strongly back. So now the right foot is forward, the left foot is back. 2 straight legs to start off with. First job, square off the hips. Keep that back leg intense and strong. Lift your arms up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bend that right leg for Virabhadrasana 1. You have to launch forward and lay yourself over that front leg. The back heel has to lift to help you to launch yourself to the wall. Once your hands are on the wall, feel how that left leg has to lift the same way it was against the wall a moment ago. This left hip in front has to point to the floor. The right hip must lift so that the sacrum is level. And with levelness in the sacrum, you start to split the legs apart. Stretch into that big toe mound of the raised leg. Open the sides of the body and the spine. Don't forget to breathe. Then with control, you're going to take a big step back, push yourself away from the wall, and then don't move that right foot. Step the left foot forward to come to Tadasana. Feet together, you've got your alignment. Tadasana. From Tadasana, step the right foot back. So bend the left leg with control. Step the right leg back. Lift your arms up. Bend the front knee. And now with that back leg strong, extend forward and launch off this back leg. Come to the wall. That was a launch. You nearly launched through. Keep the shoulders aligned with the hips. Keep the ears in line with the upper arms. Roll that right inner thigh up to the ceiling. The right outer thigh faces the floor. The right knee, the right toes face the floor. Lift that right leg. Keep it strong. Straighten that left leg. Lift that left hip. Keep the hips level. Keep the pelvis level. Push the wall away from you. Come to Virabhadrasana 1. Straighten that leg. Take the feet together. Just be here in Tadasana. So Virabhadrasana 3, it is a balance pose. So you can still take your support and work with your bricks if you need, or have your bricks in front in case you're worried. You can still take the wall for support. To go into it free, Tadasana, stand in Tadasana in the middle of your mat. Engage the legs, lock the elbows, lift and open the chest. We're coming to Virabhadrasana 1 through Vimasana. So fingertips to the chest, inhale, step or jump the feet apart. Here, you're going to turn the hips and the feet. You can keep your arms wide if you have space. Now, taking the arms up, inhale as you exhale, bend the right knee, step over that right leg, come to Virabhadrasana 3. See, can you find your balance? If not, use support. And don't hold it for too long. Hold it only as long as you can. Come back to Warrior 1, straighten up, turn, and come to Tadasana in the middle. Don't be so hard on yourself. Virabhadrasana 3 is a challenging standing pose. It requires strength, flexibility, awareness of alignment, balance. There's so much to do in this pose, so don't fret about it. Just play with it. When you're ready, Virabhadrasana 1, jump the feet apart. Turn to Vimasana. Nice, decisive, strong back leg, bend the front leg, take the arms up and go. Don't overthink it. Focus on extension rather than balance. Hold it only as long as you can. Even if the standing leg stays bent, it's fine. It will help you to balance. When you're ready with control, try to come back to Virabhadrasana 1. Good job. Straighten the front leg. Turn the feet. Come down. Step the feet together. Arms down. Tadasana. Be in Tadasana. Catch your breath. A nice way of catching your breath is to move towards the wall. Take your buttock bones, slide them up the wall. Have your feet hip distance apart. And you're just gliding forward into the soft, releasing, quietening Gomukhasana. Gomukhasana, listen to me. Uttanasana. You can even bring your feet a little bit closer into the room. So come to this quietening Uttanasana. You're releasing the sides of the body. The buttocks are up the wall. Let go the head. This restorative Uttanasana is also going to prepare us for coming into Shirshasana. Shirshasana is the head balance. We'll show just a short Shirshasana to start off with. When you're ready, come up away from the wall. Okay. Lift your sleeves if it's cold where you're at and you've got long sleeves. You're interlacing the fingers, keeping the elbows in line with the shoulders. So hands are interlaced right to the webbing. Elbows are on the floor. forearms are down. If you do not practice Shirshasana, you can do the prep where you keep your head up. You're going to lift your knees off the floor. And now what you're doing is working on pressing the forearms down, lifting the shoulder blades away from the floor, keeping that length in the sides of the body. Lifting the shoulder blades, this action of releasing the shoulder blades flesh up gives you the possibility to do Shirshasana strongly, where the shoulders are working hard. This is where you are if you're doing the preparatory. If you're doing the full pose, you're going to come to your head on the floor. With the head on the floor, you're going to slowly shift the weight onto the head by lifting the knees. Press into your forearms, lift your shoulder blades, and then when you're ready, come up. You come up one leg at a time, you come up two legs at a time, you come up bent legs. If you are a practitioner of Shirshasana, you do it now to your capacity for however long you're able to do it. If you don't do Shirshasana, an online platform is not the best place to start. Okay, you can do the preparatory and then find yourself a teacher in the area or a friend to help you learn as much about this pose as you can before just going into it. If you're not doing Shirshasana at all, not even the preparatory, we're going to now come to Supta Baddha Konasana. So either stay in Shirshasana if Shirshasana is within your practice. You want to build up your Shirshasana hold for 3, 5, 10 minutes. If you do not do Shirshasana and you also not really ready to do the prep, although the prep is good for you to work at, you're going to come to Supta Baddha Konasana. You're going to take a bolster lengthways along your spine. There's a blanket to support your head and your neck, and you're lying over the bolster. Head is supported. The feet come close to the body for Baddha Konasana. Classically, we would use a strap, but for today, just be here, opening, relaxing the groins, relaxing the chest, relaxing the shoulders. So your options are to be in Supta Baddha Konasana or in Shirshasana. In Supta Baddha Konasana, start by just finding quietness. In Supta Baddha Konasana, you can close your eyes. In Supta Baddha Konasana, there's a release of the shoulders, a quietness in the groins, softness in the face, the neck, the throat. If you're in Shirshasana, because we were doing all these leg raises and Virabhadrasana ones, your variation, you can do Ekapada. So from Shirshasana, you bring one leg down to the floor. When you bring one leg down for Ekapada Shirshasana, and you lift it up, you're lifting both legs. You establish your Shirshasana again, making sure the forearms are down, the shoulders are lifted, there's space in the sides of the body, the sides of the waist are long. Then you'll go Ekapada to the other side. So one leg down in a nice smooth movement. It doesn't have to reach the floor. Keep the hips squared off, the legs strong, like you're doing Virabhadrasana 3 mid-air. When you lift that leg, remember you lift both legs and you come back to your Shirshasana. If you have it within your practice to do so, you repeat the variations. So if you can do a second Ekapada, even a third, go for it. Ekapada, one leg. This is one leg in Shirshasana. Ekapada Shirshasana. When you lift up, you lift both legs. If you do one side twice, you do the other side twice, coming to Shirshasana each time in between. And when you've done Ekapada to both sides an equal length of time, when you've held Shirshasana to your capacity, the pose is becoming heavy, there's no more lightness and balance, then come down. Come down one leg at a time, two legs at a time. Come down, rest your head, rest your shoulders. Some people like to have their hands going back towards the feet for classic child's pose. And then when you've had enough, Bring your hands to the sides and up you come. We're going to continue our practice now in a lying down position, Supta Parangustasana. So lying on your back, you can take a blanket to support your head if you need it, and you'll have to have a strap nearby. So first coming to Supta Tadasana. Supta Tadasana, you're flat on your back, your neck and head are supported on a blanket if you need. And then, especially because you're alone online, look down your own body and make sure that your body is in a nice straight line. From here, we're going to come to Ekapada Pavamuktasana. Ekapada, one leg. Ekapada Pavamuktasana, squeezing that shin into you. So here, feel equal length in both sides of the body. And then in this Ekapada Pavamuktasana position, nice, easy position to place your strap around the ball of the foot, and you're straightening that right leg into Supta Parangustasana. Now, Supta Parangustasana, you'll recognize, is simply an upside down flicked over Virabhadrasana 3. So here, this is your standing leg because you're not taking balance. Straighten the leg, use this opportunity to firm up the knee, to get those thigh muscles engaged, to get that extension of the whole leg. This leg on the floor has to also extend. So reach into both heels, open up the backs of both knees, and feel, are my hips level? Is this right buttock bone and right outer thigh moving away from my armpit so that I've got this equal length on the left and right sides of the waist? And now we're coming to Supta Parangustasana. We're hugging that leg into us. So bend the knee into you. You're going to cross that shin over your chest, and you're taking that right foot into your left elbow, and you hugging that right knee into you. Your head comes up at first. If you're able to then settle the head and the chest down. If you're in this halfway position, you're kind of stuck, but you don't want to hold your head there. Just let this left leg bend, it's fine. And then see, can you settle down? Because we're working now into this groin and this glute on the right side. So one last final glute stretch. Bend up the right knee completely. The left knee completely, sorry. You're crossing the right foot ankle onto the left knee, and we're coming to where you thread your hand through that hole, squeeze the left shin into you so that you're getting a nice action in that right glute, and then move this right knee away from you also. From here, we're going to release both legs back to Supta Tadasana. Once you're lying in Supta Tadasana, once again, bend up the left leg, Ekapada Pavamuktasana. An opportunity here just to warm up the hip, lengthen the side of the body. An easy way to get the strap in position for Supta Parangustasana 1. In Supta Parangustasana 1, lengthen that left side of the body, open both legs, stretch both legs, relax the shoulders. From here, going to bend that left leg and see, can you cradle that shin so the left foot goes into the crook of the right elbow? Left foot in the crook of the right elbow. You wrap your left arm around your left knee. You try and bring that shin into you. If you need, you bend up this right leg and rather settle the neck so that you're not straining the neck. In the classic position, the arm goes over the head to hold the foot, so you are a little bit more supported. From here, you're going to bend up that right leg, place the left ankle on that right knee, thread your hand through and hug that right shin into you. Right. When you've held it there for a few breaths, release both legs and up you come. So, classic Gomukhasana, the feet kind of, you have to make your shins somehow malleable. It's not the easiest pose. So if you're unable to do it, you're just going to repeat what we did at the beginning of class, Gomukhasana, like this, okay? You can take a blanket for under your knees if you need. Otherwise, you sitting with your knees together. So from here, you want to now extend your right leg back. with the right leg extended back. Bring it around, and then this right knee has to hook right into the back of that left knee. You're trying to keep the feet together, which in itself is a challenge. Then when you sit back, you're trying to sit onto your feet. So you have to maneuver your legs, and this is where having either a brick or some shoulder balance foams to support you will be useful. So everybody is different. You're not going to know what support you need until you try it for the first time. And it's really, really challenging on this top foot here. So take whatever support you need. We're not going to hold it for long. The leg that's at the bottom is the arm that's on top, and the other arm swings underneath. If you're unable to clasp, and you know this because we tried it right at the beginning, here already you can start working a little bit harder and seeing if you can, taking a strap in your right hand, work on that. From here, release. Take your hands on the floor, untangle your legs, and then you can stretch your legs out, but we're going to come to the other side. So if you want to turn sideways now. So again, you reach back the left leg, move it out to the side, the right foot comes out to the side, and hook the knees together. Keep the feet moving back. And then when you come to sitting, take whatever support you need. And remember, the sides are different. So if you don't need as much this side, let's drop it down. Let's see if that is helpful. And then the leg that's at the bottom is the arm that goes up. And if you need a strap, you've already got a strap in that top arm. If you don't need it, you're holding hands. Opening up this right side of the chest. Relax the neck and the shoulders. We're going to release the arms now. Come onto all fours. Extend the legs back one at a time. And we're finishing off in Salamba Sarvangasana. So Salamba Sarvangasana, not everybody does it. It is an excellent pose for beginners to begin their inversion journey. You take 4 shoulder balance foams. This just gives us a little bit of height for underneath the shoulder platform so that your neck is free. A blanket around that, or we'll hold it together, provide a little bit of softness and slip for the neck. Another blanket for the head. And you'll see Kim is measuring the strap. You want the strap from outer shoulder to outer shoulder. So if you do not have one of these shoulder balance straps that hold their shape, you're going to need to tie a rope or something in the correct shape. Lying down, your head is on your support here. Your feet are towards the wall. We're going to pause here to show if you're not doing shoulder balance, you're going to come to legs up the wall. You're going to find a spare wall, move your buttocks to the wall. You're going to drop and roll, keeping your buttocks on the wall, taking legs up the wall. Shift so that the hips and the shoulders are aligned and the legs are in line with the body. And you will be here in Viparita, or not Viparita Karani, but legs up the wall, Urdhva Prasarita Padasana. If you're doing shoulder balance, once you've settled, kick your feet over into Halasana. If you're unable to get the feet to the floor in Halasana, have a chair, or even you can have your feet to the wall. Cut the outer upper arms in, get the strap just above the elbow onto the upper arm. This helps the elbows to stay in line with the shoulders. You walk your hands low, low, low down. And when you're ready, either one leg up at a time. You can do Ekapada from Halasana. So in Halasana, one leg up, there's your Ekapada. You're rolling that inner thigh, you're lifting the opposite hip. Taking the leg down. And then Ekapada with the other leg. The leg that raises up, the inner thigh rolls to keep the hips level, the leg that's on the floor. Use the grip of the toes to lift that outer hip. Bring the leg down. To come to Salamba Sarvangasana, shoulder balance. Either one leg at a time or 2 legs come up to shoulder balance. If you've never done inversions before, don't do these inversions on your own. Make sure you've got somebody, a teacher preferably, to help you the first time. As a beginner, generally you're holding near your bum and the legs are far forward, but in the classic pose, you want the thighs back. You want the ankles to stack above the knee, to stack above the hip, to stack above the shoulder. Shoulder balance, you get what is called Jalandhara Bandha. Jalandhara Bandha is this chin lock we have happening here. That chin lock, you need to keep the throat soft, the breath is soft, the back of the neck is long. You hold shoulder balance in this upright, steady position as long as possible. When you are ready, you can start with your ekapadas, one leg at a time. The variations help you to get a little bit more durability and stability, or not stability, but endurance and stamina in this pose. When you bring the leg down, you don't have to bring it all the way down. Keep the leg nice and firm, keep the hips level. And then when you lift, remember to lift the top leg also. Keep coming back to the halfway point, realigning before you do your variation on the other side. When you come into the pose, don't be tempted to go all the way down. Keep the structure of the top leg, and then with each exhalation, you try and get that leg down. When you lift up, lift the whole leg up. We've done some challenging standing poses today, so feel how your shoulder balance feels. If it feels tired, if it feels heavy, if you're unable to, just find some lift and balance and ease in the pose, then absolutely come down whenever you're ready. If you're able to hold it and you want to repeat the variations, absolutely do. When you're down, you're going to remove the strap and set it aside so you don't roll onto the metal bit. Then protecting your back, unroll. Don't shoot your head up. Try to keep the head calmly down. Unroll. When you're unrolled, start to slide off your support. Walk your way to where your head is on the support. Your shoulders are off the support. Relax there for a moment. When you're ready, roll onto your side. And without too much fanfare, we come into Shavasana. Shavasana is your quiet restorative pose at the end of practice. The supports you need are anything that's going to keep you warm and comfortable. So in terms of comfort, a blanket underneath the head is a nice to have. That softness helps to quieten you down in your Shavasana. If your back takes strain when you're lying flat on your back, then have a bolster for underneath the knees so that there's a softness in the lower back. You can start with bent knees so that there's that length in the lumbar spine. You want to feel that the flesh of the back body moves down towards the heels. And when you're settled, the back body is settled, extend your legs. When you exhale, imagine every cell of the body is releasing tension. So once you've placed your body correctly, again in this online space, just make sure that your body is centered, make sure that you even away from the midline, the left and right leg, the left and right arms. Close your eyes. With the eyes closed, soften the skin of the face, soften your throat, soften and relax the shoulders. Each exhalation, it's as if every cell of the body is just releasing. The exhalation helps you not just to get rid of carbon dioxide and toxins. The exhalation is a wonderful tool to help you release tension. The exhalation is a wonderful tool to help you release any troubling thoughts, especially in this quiet space. So in Shavasana, there's just a complete withdrawal inward. Coming to the breath, soft inhalations, soft exhalations. Just holding this quiet Shavasana state for a few breaths. You stay in Shavasana for as long as you want or need, as long as you have time for. You come out of your Shavasana slowly, almost reluctantly. So at first, just start to let the breath become deeper. The way in which the exhalation took you into a deep Shavasana, focus on your inhalation now and let that inhalation, as you draw in that prana, that vital life energy, let that inhalation draw that pranic energy to every cell of the body. Slowly touching every cell of the body. That inhalation, each profound breath is bringing you back to the surface of consciousness. Bring the hands anywhere to touch on your torso. Connect with the breath once more. And the next breath in. Stretch the arms over your head. Give yourself a long, deep stretch. You can yawn or sigh the breath out. And now bending the knees, you want to lazily roll on your right-hand side. You want to come out of Shavasana in an easy, relaxed manner. Bringing the head up last when you come up. So first pressing into the left hand, kind of roll towards the left side, lift into a seated position. Find yourself a comfortable seated position, lifting the spine and opening the chest. Bring the hands together in Namaskarasana. Close the eyes once again. Just be with your body and your breath for a few minutes. Feel how your body feels, how you feel physically, mentally, emotionally. Take a few moments here to give thanks for the health and strength of your body. On the next breath in, let the eyes gently just flutter open and focus. Namaste. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Kim. We'll see you in our next practice.